Imagine this. You're alone on a remote farm, miles from anyone, and for weeks, you've been hearing footsteps. Footsteps in your attic, at night, when everyone should be asleep. March 31st, 1922. A small farmstead in Bavaria, Germany. 6 people, an entire family and their maid, brutally slaughtered with a mattock. But here's what makes this truly terrifying. The killer didn't run. He stayed for days, living in their house, feeding their animals, eating their food. Whoever did this was never caught. Tonight, we're descending into one of history's most disturbing unsolved murders. A case so bizarre, so chilling, that over a century later, we still don't know who or what was in that attic. Stay with me. This one will haunt you. Bavaria, 1922. The world is still reeling from the Great War. In the German countryside, life moves slowly. 60 kilometers north of Munich lies a tiny hamlet called Kaifeck, and just beyond it, even more isolated, Hinterkaifeck. Hinter means behind. This wasn't just rural, this was the middle of nowhere. The Gruber family owned the farmstead. 63-year-old Andreas Gruber, gruff, hard-working, the patriarch. His wife, Cecilia, 72. Their widowed daughter, Victoria Gabriel, 35, and her 2 children, 7-year-old Cecilia, named after her grandmother, and 2-year-old Joseph. Victoria's husband had died in World War I, or so the story went. Rumors swirled in the village that Andreas was actually Joseph's father. But regardless of the whispers, this was a family trying to survive, working the land, keeping to themselves. Then, in late March 1922, their maid quit, abruptly. She told people the farm was haunted, that she heard strange noises. Andreas dismissed it. He needed help, so he hired a new maid, 44-year-old Maria Baumgartner. She arrived on March 31st. By nightfall, she'd be dead. In the days leading up to the murders, Andreas Gruber noticed something disturbing. Footprints in the snow, leading from the forest, across the fields, directly to his farmhouse, but none leading away. He told neighbors about strange noises coming from the attic, footsteps, movement at night when the family was in bed. He found a newspaper on the property, one he'd never purchased. Tools went missing, then reappeared in different places. The family dog refused to go near the barn. It would stand at the threshold, whimpering. And then, silence. March 31st, 1922. The Gruber family and their new maid vanished from sight. No one saw them on church on Sunday, April 2nd. Unusual, but not alarming. Andreas was known to keep to himself. But Monday came, then Tuesday. The children didn't show up for school. Mail piled up. Deliveries went uncollected. Neighbors began to worry. On April 4th, 4 days after the family was last seen, they sent someone to check. What they found defies comprehension. The barn door creaked open. Inside, beneath hay and farming tools, they found 4 bodies. Andreas Gruber, his wife, Cecilia, their daughter, Victoria, and 7-year-old Cecilia. All 4 had been killed with a mattock, a farming tool, like a pickaxe with a wide blade. Their skulls were shattered. The wounds were savage, brutal. Andreas had been struck from behind. The women and child lured or dragged to the barn, one by one. But the worst part? Little Cecilia was still alive when she was buried under the hay. Investigators found clumps of her own hair, torn out in clumps, gripped in her tiny hands. She had suffered for hours. But that wasn't all. Police moved to the house. In one of the bedrooms, they found Maria Baumgartner, the maid who'd arrived just hours before the killings. Killed in her bed, mattock to the head. And in the crib beside her, 2-year-old Joseph, the baby, murdered in his sleep. 6 people, an entire family, slaughtered. But investigators immediately noticed something wrong. The bodies had been arranged, covered, almost hidden. And inside the house, the fireplace had been used recently. Food had been eaten. The animals, cows, chickens, pigs, had been fed and cared for. Someone had been living there for days after the murders.
The Munich police descended on Hinterkaifeck. This was no ordinary crime. Over 100 people were interrogated: neighbors, drifters, former employees, ex-lovers. Victoria's husband, Karl Gabriel, was supposedly killed in World War I, but his body was never confirmed. Could he have returned, jealous, enraged? Lawrence Schlittenbauer, a neighbor and possibly Joseph's biological father, he'd had an affair with Victoria. He was one of the first to discover the bodies. Strangely, he reached directly into the woodpile where little Cecilia's body was hidden, as if he knew she'd be there. Coincidence or guilt? Traveling vagrants, robbers who stumbled upon the isolated farm, killed everyone, and hid out for days before fleeing. But nothing was stolen. Money was left untouched. The most disturbing theory: some investigators believe the killer was someone the family knew intimately, someone who could move through the house without alarming them, or someone who'd been living in the attic all along. Despite the massive investigation, every lead went cold. The bodies were decapitated post-mortem and sent to Munich for forensic analysis, cutting edge for 1922. The heads were never returned, lost, possibly destroyed in World War II. To this day, the Gruber family has no complete graves, and their killer, never identified, never caught. Over a century later, theories still swirl. The jealous lover, Lorenz Schlittenbauer. Motive: Joseph wasn't his child, despite the affair. He wanted Victoria and the farm. He knew the layout. He discovered the bodies suspiciously fast. But why kill everyone? Why stay for days? The returned soldier, Karl Gabriel, Victoria's supposedly dead husband, survived the war, came home to find his wife with another man's child, and snapped. But no evidence he was alive, no sightings, pure speculation. The drifter or robber, a stranger hiding in the woods, saw the isolated farm as an easy target, killed the family, stayed to avoid detection in the harsh weather, then disappeared. But nothing stolen, no unknown fingerprints, too calculated. The most chilling theory:
the attic dweller. Someone, perhaps a drifter, or even a disturbed individual obsessed with the family, had been living in the attic for weeks. Andreas heard the footsteps, but never checked thoroughly. On March 31st, the intruder descended, killed them methodically, one by one, and then just stayed in the house he'd been secretly inhabiting all along. Think about that. While Andreas worked the fields, someone was above him, watching, waiting. We'll never know for certain. The case files were destroyed, the heads lost, the witnesses long dead.
Why couldn't they solve it? Rural isolation, no witnesses, primitive forensics. This was 1922. The killer had days to clean up, to obscure evidence, to vanish. And perhaps the most terrifying possibility of all? The killer was never a stranger. He was always there, in the village, among the investigators. Today, the farm is gone, demolished in 1923, too cursed to remain. But the story endures. Hinterkaifeck stands as a reminder. Some horrors are too strange, too meticulous, too disturbing to ever be fully understood. And sometimes the monster was in the attic all along.
So what do you think happened at Hinterkaifeck? Was it Schlittenbauer, a returned soldier, or something far more sinister, someone living in that house for weeks? Drop your theories in the comments. I want to hear what you think. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more forgotten mysteries dragged into the light. Thanks for watching. And tonight, maybe check your attic.